Tonight, residents take shelter as Cyclone Kirrily closes in on the coast.
Concerns about water supply on Magnetic Island.
A Charters Towers businessman enters the race for mayor.
And Qantas's new safety ad slammed for missing the mark.
This is 7 News with Joanne, Desmond and Adam Straney.
Good evening, thanks for joining us.
Great to have your company tonight.
Well, as we go to air, severe tropical cyclone Kirrily is just hours away from crossing the North Queensland coast. The system intensified to a Category 3 system this afternoon, with destructive winds and heavy rainfall lashing the city. It will be the strongest cyclone to hit Townsville in more than half a century. Paige Van Lunteren has more.
Joe, residents started receiving those emergency alerts via text messages earlier this morning, and it seems most people are taking that advice to stay home and take shelter very seriously. Townsville started feeling the first impacts of severe tropical cyclone Kirrily around 2 p.m. this afternoon, with wind gusts up to 80 kilometres an hour. Those are expected to increase up to 170 kilometres an hour later tonight.
You really don't want to be outdoors with some of these gusts. It could drop a tree branch, it could pick up a piece of rubbish and hit you.
The Category 3 system is expected to cross the coast within hours.
It will decrease in severity quite quickly, and into the early hours and early morning Friday, we'll see that those wind speeds will drop away.
Then the heavy rain will set in.
Totals of rainfall between 120 and up to 300 millimetres today, Thursday. And Friday, again, with totals up to around 150 millimetres.
If those rainfall totals are on the higher end, the Ross River Dam could hit 110%.
It means we'll only have minor openings that can be contained within the river.
Residents in Kungulla, Saunders Beach and Gumlow are most at risk of getting cut off.
Given we've done everything we can, now this is a personal choice.
This will be the strongest tropical cyclone to hit Townsville since Cyclone Althea crossed the coast on Christmas Eve in 1971. Locals are being urged to keep an eye on text messages and the local disaster management dashboard as we wait to see what damage we wake up to tomorrow morning. Adam.
Thanks, Paige. Residents made a last-minute dash to the shops today to stock up on essentials before bunkering down in anticipation of Cyclone Kirrily's arrival. Any last-minute travel plans were dashed, with flights not resuming at Townsville Airport until tomorrow afternoon at the earliest.
Police got their hands dirty today, helping residents get cyclone ready before sandbagging stations closed at 2 p.m.
Everyone's getting around it at the moment and staying positive and just hope for the best.
Petrol stations were also packed, with ice and gas cylinders in hot demand.
Basically the whole day we've just been out of stock.
Bottle shops had no shortage of customers, but not everyone was interested in enjoying their drink at home.
Go to the foreshore and probably go paragliding or something like that. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event. Imagine being in the eye of the storm.
Supermarkets were slammed in the last-minute rush to stock up on essentials.
Cyclone!
The naughties. Under the bread, all the chocolate, the Tim Tams, see?
Businesses had sold out and shut up by early afternoon. Townsville Airport staff secured planes and grounded all flights out today and tomorrow morning.
Hopefully we'll open back tomorrow by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Cyclone shelters are on standby in Heatley and the CBD for locals worried their homes won't be able to withstand the Category 3 system.
The shelters are there to provide protection, they're not there to be a comfortable place.
And while no refreshments or bedding is being provided, around 100 people with nowhere else to go are expected to stay here overnight.
Kind of a little bit scared, but I've got people around here that will help me out.
Ergon crews from across the state are now on the ground and on standby.
Plan to lose power for a minimum of 3 to 4 days.
Risa Utama, 7 News.
Residents on Magnetic Island have raised serious concerns over contamination in their water supply as Cyclone Kirrily approaches. Townsville Council issued an advice on Tuesday to boil water, and the problem was expected to be fixed yesterday. But locals are worried there won't be enough safe drinking water if they become isolated or lose power.
Boil enough water now. If your power goes off, If there's a barbecue, use a barbecue if you require more water post the event.
Council says maintenance crews will continue repairs on the island after the weather event.
Charters Towers could see a new leader emerge as a familiar name enters the mayoral race ahead of the March election. Local business owner Tony McDonald says his only promise is to have the region's best interests at heart.
Tony McDonald is running for mayor, but not without the help of his campaign mascots, alpaca duo Kerry and James Packer.
What more could you want? Kerry, Packer. Huh? We had to have a James, so that's why we've got a James Packer now.
The business owner wants to see a boost in the number of jobs and people in the region.
I feel we need a change in our system here. We are a diminishing population. We are. By about 0.5% every year, which is 2 families.
The mayoral hopeful says he also wants to find new ways to keep the younger population in town.
There's nowhere for the young people to go. Pubs, pubs. That's all there is.
Locals will become familiar with this car as he plans to visit each community in the lead up to the election.
To look after the local people of Charters Towers and this region. That is my promise. And I'll do my utmost.
While current Mayor Frank Beveridge says he has unfinished business and is prepared to lead for another term.
The population is growing now. It wasn't 4 years ago, it was completely different. Plenty of jobs in Charters Towers. We need more houses, we need more people.
Chanel Macbeth, 7 News.
A new Qantas in-flight safety video has been slammed with claims it misses the mark and more to do with destinations. The airline insists it's a clever way to encourage air travellers to pay attention about what to do during an emergency.
Hey, I'm Lachlan. I moved to Lapland to marry the love of my life.
It's the in-flight safety video that's not filmed inside an aircraft. Instead, passengers are reminded to buckle up by a sports car driver in Hollywood.
Fasten your seatbelt by inserting the clasp into the buckle.
How to use an oxygen mask. That takes place at Ningaloo Reef.
Oxygen will flow as you take a breath.
And the brace position is taught through a dance sequence in India.
Brace by placing your forehead on the back of the seat.
The Flight Attendants Association says the slick production misses the mark.
It doesn't focus enough on the really important safety message. Follow the directions of your cabin crew. They need people ready so that when an evacuation occurs, they get off the aircraft quickly and they follow their directions.
Qantas says it's designed to complement demonstrations by cabin crew. The video is about familiarising our customers with safety procedures, and we try to make it as engaging as possible. This is the first Qantas in-flight safety video in 4 years, commissioned by then CEO Alan Joyce. Rather than being more baggage for the former boss, some say it does a wonderful job.
What we've got here is something bright, it's a bit different, it highlights a whole lot of great destinations around the world and at the same time gives you a very sensible safety message.
Zoe Martin, 7 News.
Ahead tonight, the alarming screen time trends damaging children's eyes.
And millions, including Joe and I, are hoping their phone will light up after tonight's Powerball mega draw.
Townsville turns to 7 News to keep up to date on local issues, and we want you to be a part of it. If there's something happening in your street, your suburb, we want to know about it. Send us a message or drop us an email.
And welcome back to 7 News. Well, health professionals are concerned excess screen time could be causing lifelong issues for kids. New research has revealed children are spending triple the amount of time recommended on devices, and parents are being warned to watch out for signs of eye strain.
Generation Alpha was born into the digital age where staring at a screen all day has become the new norm.
I have noticed that children are more distracted in class because of they struggle to concentrate outside of technology.
A study by Specsavers has found children between 5 and 12 years old spend an average of 3.5 hours per day on devices, both at home and at school.
Technology is here to stay. It's not going anywhere, but we do definitely need to limit it.
90% of primary school teachers have reported witnessing eye strain in students.
A lot of the time kids don't know that there might be a problem with their vision,
so they don't bring anything up.
The World Health Organization estimates more than half of the global population will be short-sighted by 2050 due to excess screen time.
Also socially, like it affects them socially and their ability to make friends and have conversations with children.
Parents are being urged to practice screen safety by limiting up-close tasks, taking screen breaks and getting regular eye checks.
Because when they're detected early and they're treated earlier, there's better outcomes for the kids.
Tiani Reid, 7 News.
Half of all Australian adults are expected to have a ticket in tonight's eye-watering $150 million Powerball. As the clock ticks down to the draw, there'll be millions hoping and dreaming about that life-changing prize.
At $150 million, it's the second biggest lottery prize we've ever seen.
And if one person takes home the entire Division 1 jackpot, they'll become the biggest winner in the history of Australian lotteries as well.
They could buy their own private island in Florida, 65 of these Lamborghinis, a luxury yacht, or it could pay the interest on Victoria's debt for less than a week. With the state's net debt projected to hit $177 billion by 2027, the interest bill will be $8.7 billion. That's $23 million a day, meaning the prize would be spent in just 6.5 days. Despite that bleak prediction, more than half of Australian adults are expected to try their luck. In last week's draw, the peak of ticket sales was at 5:46 p.m, with more than 7,200 entries in a single minute.
If you purchase yourself a power hit entry, it guarantees the Powerball, and then you just have to match 7 other numbers.
Sounds easy, it's not. Your chances of winning, 1 in 134 million. If no one has the winning ticket this time around, the prize will jackpot again next week.
The draw closes tonight at 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. It'll be about an hour and a half after that. We'll be making that winning phone call.
Rochelle Brown, 7 News.
I think we said this last week. How good would it be to win that at $150 million?
2 Vegas townhouses now, guys. Not the one.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
There is plenty going on this weekend and not a lot in sport.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we'll see how the cyclone turns out.
Yep.
But a decision has been made on Saturday's fire game.
It has indeed, Joe. The WNBL made the call this morning and Townsville will now have to wait an extra 4 days to try and end their 2-game losing streak. We'll have more on that next. But the Townsville Cyclones, they're still hoping they can make it to Cairns for a gridiron grudge match.
Stream 7 News anywhere, anytime, live and on demand on 7plus. And with 7news.com.au, you'll know the news now.
And welcome back. Well, the WNBL has cancelled the Townsville Fire's home fixture against the Southside Flyers on Saturday. The decision was made during the team's training session this morning after the airport announced its closure due to Cyclone Kirrily.
You can't have a match without an opponent, and that's what the Fire were facing.
As of this morning, the league have updated us that they are going to cancel the game. This is just due to the fact, obviously, with the airport closure, the uncertainty around when it will reopen and travel. Southside were set to arrive tomorrow morning.
Adding an extra element, Southside are playing in Sydney tonight. But as for if we'll see the match rescheduled.
Unfortunately, because we have a FIBA window coming up, the time frame to reschedule a game doesn't look likely, just based off when we return from FIBA, where the games are played and then it rolls straight into finals.
And if that is the case and they can't reschedule, both teams' win-loss percentage will be determined by one less game. If teams are on the same win-loss percentage, the next determinant is the split between the 2 games the 2 sides have already played.
Honestly, we just need to win all 3 of our remaining games now, and that'll put us in the best position to get top spot and home finals.
They still managed to get a solid session in this morning.
We had, some honest conversations about where we're at and what we've been doing and those types of things, and I think all of the players have responded really well.
Wet weather may have extinguished the Fire's chance of ending their uncharacteristic 2-game losing streak on Saturday, but the wait won't be long for their next shot.
We've still got a game on Tuesday against Canberra, so we'll obviously get that one done. Now we have a few extra days to get ready for that.
Emma Halliday, 7 News.
The basketball isn't the only sport called off this weekend. As expected, cricket has been canned across North Queensland, but one sport is desperate to get a game in. Townsville's gridiron team is still hoping to travel up to Cairns and play for top spot in the regional Queensland competition.
The Cyclones might not usually play nice, but they're hoping Kirrily is kind.
We're focusing on playing. We're planning to make the travel. As long as the highways are open on Saturday, we're off.
Getting to Cairns is critical. It's not just any game, it's a top-of-the-table clash against the Falcons with finals repercussions.
Cairns at the moment have the top of the table on points for and against. Wins, losses, we're tied. But yeah, they pip us just with the points for and against. So if we don't get to play this game, we have to play the semi-final against Mackay.
And aside from bragging rights, they are desperate to get that week off in finals, but it won't be easy.
They've always had a strong team, and they're really chomping at the bit to get another one in on our 10-year anniversary.
Not if Townsville has a say in it. The side is coming off a 20-6 victory over the Mackay Mavericks last weekend.
We've really been focusing on defence, but as the season's progressed, our offence has really shown that they can get it done just as well. So I think the Cyclones' strength always goes back to our fitness.
But for tonight, the only Cyclone strength they are worried about is Category 2 Kirrily. Emma Halliday, 7 News.
And 7 former Cowboys will get back in the saddle this weekend on the Gold Coast at the Nines Premier League tournament. Ben Hannant, Jordan Kahu, Josh Maguire, Anthony Mitchell, Blake Leary, Willie Mason and James Seguiaro, as well as current Cowboys assistant coach James Maloney, will dust off the footy boots from tomorrow. Founded by Cowboy number 233 Anthony Mitchell, the event raises funds for communities in need. The matches start tomorrow. I'm sure they'll have a fun time on the Gold Coast, but for everyone at home, please stay safe over the next few days. And that's it for us for tonight. Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Thanks, Adam.
And speaking of staying safe, Livio has all the very important outlook, and Scotty Hillier has our fishing report as well.
G'day, Livio. Regano with tonight's weather. Severe tropical cyclone Kirrily, now Category 3, is preparing to make landfall near Townsville in the next few hours. Storm force winds and very heavy rain are now being experienced in the warning zone between Innisfail and Serena, expected to ease tomorrow as Kirrily's weakening remnants move inland. Rain's finally having an impact on our local temperatures. Last night remained steamy in the mid-20s, but today struggled to reach 30 at most stations. Let's look first at the satellite loop. Now, Kirrily jumped up through 2 categories during today, starting with Category 2 this morning and now a severe tropical cyclone, Category 3. Its structure doesn't really look like a severe tropical cyclone, doesn't have the classic eye wall, but observations from Flinders Reef today above 140 km/h gusts basically made us recalibrate, or the Bureau recalibrate their estimates, and there's a chance it may still continue to intensify. So this is today's chart. The Category 3 cyclone, even though this chart was drawn at 10 a.m, we've upgraded the CAT, is basically coming very, very close to the coast now, only a few hours away, going in a very straight path exactly as predicted. Unfortunately, about to bullseye cyclone, or certainly very close to it, as a Category 3 storm before it quickly weakens as it crosses the coast. On tomorrow's chart, there will be no cyclone anymore. The low will become absorbed in the monsoon trough. Lots of heavy rain out west. And on the outlook chart, we'll start getting those horribly humid northerly winds ahead of the inland trough, bringing heatwave conditions back to Queensland. Now, the boating forecast for Townsville waters, hurricane force winds tonight. Stay right away. Gale force tomorrow, above 34 knots. Season swell greater than 4 metres. Saturday, northerly winds dropping below 20 knots finally. We're smack on full moon tide tomorrow, which means maximum possible range between low and high water. The bigger of the 2 peaks will be late morning, the lesser at night. Herbert and Lower Burdekin, tropical cyclone warning continues. Rains and winds easing though tomorrow. Heavy falls inland. Townsville 26 to 33 degrees. Ayr also 33. Ingham 34. Northern Goldfields and Upper Flinders, a severe weather warning for heavy storms and damaging winds. Charters Towers 33. Georgetown 31. Looking ahead for Townsville, sultry conditions returning this weekend as humid monsoonal air pours into Queensland post-cyclone. Nighttime temps will be particularly gross after showers with no relief in sight. We'll finish up with the latest radar loop showing the approach of Kirrili's eye, enshrouded by heavy rain bands. All going to plan, the eye should be above Townsville in the next few hours. Please stay up to date with hourly advices. Hopefully tomorrow the worst will be over. Here's Scotty with the fishing report.
Yeah, good on you, Livio. Well, all eyes at the moment on tropical cyclone Kirrili, and as we know, they've got a mind of their own even after they cross the coast. So just keep an eye on that latest forecast before doing anything outdoors. As I mentioned earlier, it is tough to encourage fishing for the weekend with the uncertainty of the tropical cyclone Kirrili. So if you are in that area, just make sure you check that latest forecast before heading outdoors. Now, during the week, though, the rivers were fishing pretty good for a couple of good flathead. There were whiting along with grunter, all being caught on fresh strip baits along with live yabbies. And those mud crabs continue to be around in pretty good numbers as well. Now, plus for those kept indoors, it could be a good idea to go over all your barramundi gear with only a week to go until that season opens. Now, check this out. Young Isla Tom was proud as punch when she fished with her granddad and her old man Matt and caught this lovely finger mark on strip bait. Good on you, Isla. Now, if you are chasing more outdoor action, make sure you join me and the team Saturday 5:30 for Creek to Coast as we explore the Fraser Coast region. And I can tell you we get stuck into some monster dolphin fish. See you next week.
Thanks, Scotty. Good on you, mate. That's all from us here tonight. Thanks so much for your company.
And also a reminder, you can watch the replay of our news on the 7plus app. You can catch up on our page, 7news.com.au. From all of us here, enjoy your evening. And it's your last night for a while.
Indeed it is. I'm throwing a snag on the barbie tonight.
All right. Okay, enjoy the long weekend. Good night.